Today is Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? Today is Wednesday, right?
It is Wednesday. Yeah. It's hard to keep
July
up.
6th.
Yeah.
This is Fishing for Real. I'm one of your hosts, Todd Walters. With me is Brad Staley, the Big Bass Bash captain,
Captain BBB.
founder, originator, CEO.
Yeah. CEO, CFO, muscle, all of it. Good times.
You're the man. What's going on?
Not much, man. Happy Independence Day, guys.
Happy 4th of July to everybody. Hope everybody got to enjoy the long weekend. There's probably a lot of people off this week, right?
Yeah, probably so. And hopefully everybody stayed safe. It was a madhouse out on the water this weekend.
Did you get out on the water this weekend?
I only went to Random and that was it. I took off on the motorcycle a little bit this weekend. So rode around. Me and Tim from Angler's Choice went riding Saturday, and then I rode up to the mountains Monday. I got up on the Parkway Monday, and it was 76.
Yeah.
I stopped and put my hoodie on. It was kind of chilly.
Yeah. Big difference.
Yeah. But
as soon as you weekend for it, it was hot as hell here.
Yes, it was. It was. So good stuff. Who do we got on tonight?
So tonight we got North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission Fisheries BIologist Seth Mycko. Bumped into Seth at Lake Townsend last week, and he pulled up and we chatted for a little bit. And he gave me his card, and he explained to me that Corey was promoted. Corey's a guest that we had on in the past, and he was promoted. He's in Raleigh now, so Seth kind of is filling his shoes, and he's doing a lot of stuff in our area, in Guilford, Forsyth County. So we'll get to pick his brain a little bit and ask him some questions. Just browsing his Facebook page and stuff. Looks like he's got some programs, and he's looking for some volunteers. So hopefully some guys will see this podcast and step up and help him out. I know if my schedule allows me to, I'm definitely going to. So
absolutely, man. Everybody, you get on social media and read posts and people start complaining about different things, but that's not gonna fix anything. Getting to those meetings they have when they have the public meetings, and letting your voice be heard the proper way, then we can make changes for the good with everything.
The only way to make change is to make change yourself. You can talk about it, but until you do something about it, I tell my wife that all the time, because she complains about stuff. And I say, well, are you going to do something about it? Or you're just going to complain about it?
She mainly complain about you, though?
Yes.
Yeah, I get it.
But unfortunately, we're legally bound together. So
a
choice.
Yeah. No, something. So fishing the BFL at High Rock and being down there, ran several tournaments out of Southmont in the last month. What do we got to do to get some money spent to fix that boat ramp up? It is horrible.
So bad.
I was thinking about it, dude. I don't think they've
spent
any money down there since the Classic. Because originally, before the Classic came, all it was the ramp on the left when you pull up. The one with the gigantic pothole in the middle of it now that you can't even use. Mm-hmm. So when the Classic came, in 94, 95, they built the three over there on the side with the dividers and built that entire parking lot to the left whenever you pull into big parking lot. Mm-hmm. So they built all that. And I don't think any money's been spent on that place since then.
Zero.
And I know it's it's not Alcoa anymore, but Cube, I guess Cube is who's managing the lakes, and that's one of their access areas because we have to reach out to get a permit to hold tournaments over there. But if they would, people would pay $1 a day to use that ramp, or $5 a day, or whatever. You can get a ramp permit at Kerr for $40 for a year. I would pay $40 in a heartbeat if all that money would go to fix up that parking lot.
You start talking about $1, that's one thing. You start talking about $5, and now you're opening a can of worms where you're going to get.
But okay, so it's $5 single use, or you pay $40 and you can use it all year. Every fisherman that fishes down there would pay $40 to use that ramp all year, without a doubt, if they would fix it up. I don't know, but the Buttle Creek ramp, which that's a wildlife ramp. Mm-hmm. It's so much better, so much nicer. It just doesn't have the parking.
Sure is. It doesn't have parking. And if the water's high, you can't go under Abbott's Bridge. So you're stuck in Abbott's.
That's a bummer. Yeah.
So the boat ramp across from Tamarack, I mean, that one's not bad. It's just there's no parking, and the parking lot is so tight. It's like built for 10-foot John boats.
Yeah, that's a wildlife ramp as well. That I think York Hill, which is the ramp up in the river up underneath the bridge. I think those are and then you got the ramp in Flat Swamp. You know, and the Flat Swamp ramp is pretty nice. The parking's kind of weird. You got to go way up on top of the hill and trek back down to your boat. But yeah, that number 8, man, they like, I don't know. I'm gonna see if I can talk to some people and just see what can be done to, I mean, I would almost hold a tournament over there to fundraiser if we can, I mean, just bring some gravel in and repave the ramps. Like,
yeah, just repave the ramps. I mean, especially with as frequently as they draw the water down in that place in the wintertime. I mean, you would think that they could, just do some moderate upgrades to it. It is, it's really bad. It's been bad. And I don't think they've done a thing to it since I've been here, and I've been here for 15 years. So,
yeah.
Yep. I don't think they've done a thing. And it's the other problem too is, cars are getting broken into. There's no lights. The parking is not the greatest. And, it's just, people leave garbage around there. It's just, they fish from shore and they leave their trash up on the bank, which is not great. So
no, it's, and if you go down there, I guarantee you, if you would have been down there this weekend or went down there, say Tuesday, yesterday, it would have been unreal down there. But I have been down there on Mondays after the weekend, after, and it's this time of the year when there's so many boaters out there on the lake.
Yeah.
And the trash cans are overflowing. There's trash blowing all around the parking lot. People just leave their stuff there. But I've seen the same lady down there multiple times on Monday picking up trash.
Really?
So it's really cool that they go down there. And I mean, I've noticed that at some of our local gas stations. I mean, we've got one, and it's a big national brand. It's horrible. I mean, you pull in the parking lot and there's just trash everywhere. Yeah. All the trash cans are over, and you're like, dude, pay somebody to clean the daggum trash up.
Yeah, it's not just here either. It's everywhere. You pull up to a big name gas station and every garbage can is completely full. You're like balancing your garbage bag on top of the can. And people just, they don't want to take out trash. I don't. That's the only explanation I have.
I don't like taking out my trash either, but I do it.
I don't either.
Yeah, that's one of the problems your wife has with you. That's one of the things she's trying to change.
Yeah, well, like I said, she's stuck with me. So I'm gonna send Seth an invite. We can keep chatting. So, what do you got going on? What's going on in your world? What's coming up? You were talking about a High Rock Derby fundraiser at High Rock.
Yeah, so this is in the very early stages, but we are trying to put together a benefit tournament for a 5-year-old little girl named Haley who has a brain tumor. She is fixing to go to Cincinnati to start some treatment for that. She's just a beautiful little girl, and having a 3-year-old little girl at home, I could not imagine going through something like that. So a friend of mine reached out and asked me if I'd be interested in maybe doing a benefit tournament. And I said, well, possibly, what's the deal? So she sent me a picture and told me the story. And my next text was, will August work? Let's make this thing happen. So we're looking at August 20th is what we're trying to do. And it's going to be at High Rock out of Southmont. So the flip side of that is, Tamarack has had some issues with tournaments, and that's why you're not seeing as many tournaments ran out of Tamarack. So High Rock doesn't have a lot of choices for running fishing tournaments. So
no, but you would think with as popular as High Rock is for fishing tournaments and how good that lake has been for how long it's been, that somebody would build something somewhere. It needs like a Nutbush or a Ebenezer or
well, they've got the land there to do it at number 8. I mean, number 8's the spot to do that. They just need, I mean, I don't know how much money it would cost to repave those ramps and bring in a couple of loads of gravel. It's just the potholes right there around the road are ridiculous. I mean, when you pull off of the, pull off of the asphalt onto the gravel, I mean, your truck like falls off a cliff.
Yeah.
So.
And you said who is responsible for maintaining that?
I think it's Cube. If it was Alcoa's power generation or whatever, and then Cube bought that, and I think it's still Cube who owns it. It's the little thing there at Baden, right beside across the street from the Baden ramp. So I saw that they're putting a bunch of money into that Alcoa ramp at Baden, I always call it the Alcoa ramp, whatever that ramp is on that end of the lake. But they're supposed to be building like a park and stuff there, like an amphitheater for.
They are, right? They are. The last time
Yeah.
I was there, when we fished, I fished with Handy. We fished a wildcat there on a Thursday, and you could see right where those porta potties are behind there, that big grass area. I think that's where they're building it.
Yeah, but supposedly it's going to take up the drawings that I seen that were floating around on social media. It only had like 7 parking spots for boats and trailers, or trucks and trailers. Yeah,
that should do it.
Yeah, so
7.
Yep. But I mean, maybe they got a huge parking lot right across the road.
There's more than 7 boats on that lake at 3 a.m. on a Wednesday in January.
Yeah. So
knock, knock. Somebody just knocked on us.
Somebody knocked on the door. We got a visitor. They want to be let in.
We do. Should I admit him?
Absolutely. People are tired of listening to us talk.
For sure.
Oh, like a little doorbell sound.
Yeah, you like that? Mr. Seth.
He's connecting to audio.
He's connecting. He's not connected yet. Maybe we can ask him who's responsible for the Southmont boat ramp. See, it has got you so upset.
It's just, I mean, I don't know, man. As much as that thing is used, like and that's probably the busiest boat ramp on the whole lake.
Southmont, yeah, for sure. I would say so. Seth, are you with us?
You're muted, Seth.
Can I unmute him? There we go.
There you go.
There we go.
You're muted again.
I muted him. Hang on. Seth.
He's new at this, man.
Yeah, we'll get it. All right, you can unmute now.
All right,
there you go. We got you now.
What's up? How are y'all?
We're good, doing man. Good. How are you?
You're like all official in an office and stuff.
No, his office.
We are
shirt on.
Right here in Mebane, North Carolina, just right here in Alamance County, south of Grand Mebane and east of McIntosh, if you know where those lakes are.
Absolutely.
I've heard of them before. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So we introduced you kind of before you hopped on, but I'll go ahead and do it again. This is North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission Fisheries Biologist 2, Seth Mycko. Seth, thanks for hopping on with us. We appreciate it.
Great introduction, man. Yeah.
Dude, golf clap.
Yeah, thank you.
That works.
So I am specifically in District 5. So we cover our biggest reservoirs, Jordan Lake, and then our other bigger ones are Mayo and Mycko. So I cover that 11 county swath from the Davidson County line to Durham and up to Virginia, all of the little Greensboro municipal lakes and all of the Alamance County lakes as well.
Do you have Randleman as well?
Yep, Randleman. Yeah. And the little Asheboro City lakes down there in Asheboro, which are hidden gems, actually.
Those are some gems.
We caught some big fish at Reese this year.
Yeah, Reese is a really good lake. I've spent a lot of time down there. Lucas, for a time, Lucas was like the premier crappie destination in the lake. There was it's like a 4-pound crappie that was caught out of there that they had in it was a tackle shop on Highway 49. I don't even remember the name of it. They had actually have it in an aquarium in there, and they let it go back in the lake whenever he shut that place down. So kind of cool. See a 4-pound crappie swimming around.
4-pound crappie. Which one's Reese? Reese is the one that
Reese is the non-horsepower restricted lake, the bigger one, further away from the city there, further west of the city.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So you're responsible for all of these fisheries, and what is your duties? To maintain, to study?
Yeah, well, we do the habitat enhancement, of course, and then we do all of our resident fish surveys for 22 reservoirs in our district.
And how do you do the fish surveys? Is that through shocking?
Yep, shocking for largemouth, And then we do gill netting for our stripers and hybrids in the wintertime. And then we do trap netting for our crappie in the fall. So that's the next fish I'll be touching is a bunch of crappie this fall.
So
Okay,
what
so-
lakes for bass have y'all done this year?
We did Reese, Lucas, Mycko, and Cane Creek.
Cane Creek used to be a gym. Hank Parker did a show down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's Cane Creek?
Where is it? Yeah.
Tiny. This thing is 280 acres. It's in Orange County. It's a Orange water supply lake.
Yeah, dude, it was
Orange County water system.
It was the destination. So I went down there when I was a kid, and you couldn't put a boat in. You had to rent their boats. They rented like trolling motors and stuff. And I don't know if it's still like that or not.
Yeah, it's
but Hank went down there with his bass boat, an old 18-foot with like a 150 Johnson GT on the back of it. But somehow, I guess he made a donation to the lake or whatever. But he got to put his boat out there and film a show. Yeah, they freaking whacked them.
Yeah,
but yeah, Cane Creek.
Cane Creek. Cool.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, are you allowed to take civilians with you when you do these electroshocking?
Yeah, we can. It's tough to get a lot of people out at once because, our boats are so small. We got a generator and live well and all that stuff on them.
Right.
But we can get, 1 or 2 people out here and there.
So what do y'all do?
And they're usually long days. We usually start at 7, 8 o'clock and go until 4 or 5 o'clock some days. So sometimes it's hard for people.
That's a half day for us, man.
So walk us through how it goes to shock the bass, like what you're doing, what you're trying to accomplish, what you're looking for.
Yeah. So in District 5, every district's probably a little different when it comes to sampling methods, but we do a 10-minute transect. So all of our lakes, we've taken them and we busted them into 500-meter transects along the shoreline, and we'll randomly select those, and we'll do 10 minutes at each point that is randomly selected. And we shoot to either get like close to 500 fish, however many sites that takes, or we do up to like 40 or 45 sites, depending on how good the lakes are. Lakes with more fish, we don't have to do as many sites, and lakes with less fish, we'll have to do more sites at.
Is there a time of the year when you do this, or when the fish are a little bit more vulnerable, maybe during spawning season or after that?
Yeah. So the average year is last week of March. If we're doing if we got a warm water lake on the schedule, like Mycko, we can get in at Mycko the last week of March and get rolling. And we'll do that all the way through mid-May. And then also in the mix of all the resident fish surveys, we're collecting brood fish for our stripers usually. So we'll go up to the Dan River and shock for brood fish as well. So
What's
it's
a brute fish?
Yeah. So every year we go and collect stripers out of the Dan River, and then we send those down to our hatchery at Watha, and they spawn out the big female stripers, and that's how we grow all the stripers we stock in the state.
So you actually take the fish from the wild, reproduce them artificially, and then release them. That's how you is it the same way with bass, or do you have?
No, the only bass stocking we've done in recent history are the Norman F1s, and we're buying those from Alabama from a hatchery that's supplying those for us in Alabama. But bass typically they reproduce so well on their own that we don't really have to stock them. It'd be a rare occurrence if we did.
It's amazing to me that some of these fishers can hold up to the fishing pressure, like on Oak Hollow Lake and some of these Townsend, for instance, and some of these smaller fisheries where you have, heck, we've had 30 boats, 40 boats on Oak Hollow on a Thursday night.
Yeah.
And everybody still catches them.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Like the fish either, and there's a plentiful food supply. There's plenty of forage. There's no reason why those fish, are caught, but it's amazing they can stand up to that. I mean, is there a certain strain of fish or I know there's different variations, F1s, F2s. We've had this conversation before, but I mean, is there a certain strain of bass around here that's a little bit more resilient?
Yeah, we're learning that we have a good amount of Florida genes out there in a lot of our lakes now. We've been taking a lot of fin clips and sending them off to Auburn University to get the genotypes of them, and we have a good amount of Florida genes out there. We don't have any 100% Florida lakes or anything, but there's a good amount of Florida genes out there, and I think that's helping those fish get to that large size and helping
Gotcha.
that. So
I got you. And I know a lot of it
that
has to do
project will be ongoing through the next few years. We'll be trying to get just a baseline of what genetics we have out there currently.
Okay. And I noticed you're doing a lot of things with aquatic vegetation on Oak Hollow Lake and a few other lakes around here.
Yeah.
And my home lake, which is 20 minutes from me, is Beluza Lake. And I've noticed over the last 2 to 3 years that they've actually let the grass grow,
Right.
which is great for the largemouth population, because we fished last weekend and I caught several 10 to 12 inch largemouth bass, which I haven't caught in the last 3 to 5 years. So it's good to see that, because those fish will hopefully have that habitat and be able to reproduce. It seems like they're reproducing on their own, obviously, if you're not stocking them, but it's good to see that. And it's good to see the grass growing, because I know that there's been grass in years past and you guys have been forced to kill it, or somebody's killed it. And it's just devastated some fisheries here locally.
Yeah. So we got Harris going. We're doing a big project down at Harris right now. I think their biggest plant that they've had success with so far is lotus. So they're getting some lotus going at Harris again. And in my district, we're doing Mycko, Oak Hollow, and then Townsend is our other reservoir. And we've learned that maybe 3 reservoirs is all we can handle at one time. And then if we can get those founder colonies to a certain level where they just persist on their own, hopefully it'll start to spread naturally without us going in every year and planting plant after plant after plant. It usually takes 4 to 5 people a week to plant 1,000 pots. So we're planting like 700 water willow pots a year, and then we'll bring in some water lily and some pickerweed and things like that. We're usually potting almost 1,000 pots per lake to bring in potted plants from our nursery out to the lakes. It's a pretty big endeavor every summer, and we're just trying to get them going and growing. And that Oak Hollow is probably our shining star right now. So.
Yeah, that lake, I know they drew it down last year and it affected it, but it did not kill it, because it's come back and the fish are using it. So it seems to be working. Whatever you guys are doing.
Oak Hollow, I think, started with one little patch of water willow, and now it's everywhere basically. Yeah, so that's been great to see there. And I think we'll see anywhere we have a project going, we'll see water willow take off first, and then hopefully the other species will be shortly thereafter. Where we've noticed that it takes about 12 years to get to a point where it's like starting to spread on its own, the native species. Yeah. Of course, hydrilla is a whole nother ball game. It can take off in a couple years, but most of the lake managers don't like to see hydrilla.
So what do you I saw something on the Facebook post where y'all were doing that out there, I guess last week or 2 weeks ago, and I saw something about eelgrass. So y'all are actually planting eelgrass as well?
Yeah, that's our baby right now. Turtles love eelgrass. So anytime we get like a hole in the cage, or someone like bumps their boat into the cage and they can hop over that cage, the turtles get in there and just devour all the eelgrass.
Really?
So I've had cages full of eelgrass for 3 years, and then something will happen. We'll get a flood or something. Turtles will get in and eat everything, and we have to start over. But
and it's the same like eelgrass that you see like on Tennessee River down in Florida. Same stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
I think we originally got it from the coast, from one of the lakes on the coast, maybe Phelps. There's a lake down there that has a lot of it in it, and we originally got the original stock from the coast.
So what are y'all trying to figure out? You're just trying to figure out what grass works better with certain bottom compositions, or?
Yeah, that's kind of the goal, is to figure out, like, once we know how a lake is set up, we'll be able to say, hey, these species are going to work here, and that's all we need to bring to this lake. So that's kind of what we're learning in these early projects. And then once we know like what species like certain types of substrate or wind activity, or boat activity, which can handle the waves crashing on the bank, then we'll know that a certain species isn't right for a lake in the future.
So the black algae stuff that is at Tuckertown, we have heard in the past talking to people that that's a byproduct of the water willow. Is that correct?
No, I mean it's naturally occurring in just about every body of water in the nation now, I think, and it just ebbs and flows based on nutrients. So I think when that lake lost all the other plant species that were, uptaking those nutrients, it just took off with the lack of competition, basically. So hopefully,
So that's something that we could potentially see happen in other lakes.
yeah, potentially, yeah. It's very nuanced, and a lot of factors could be at play there. But yeah, nutrients is number one. If it's there and gets a lot of nutrients, it can really take off.
Yeah, because I've noticed, Baden, the upper end of Baden behind the dam or whatever, it's there's a lot up there, and then I'm catching some at High Rock now, starting to get in little areas of High Rock that's got quite a bit of it in it as well. And
the crappy part is when they do go in and kill it, it still stays there, and it just never like rots away.
Really?
So I think NC State is doing some work trying to figure out how to like eradicate it totally at Gaston, but they're not quite there yet. Still trying to figure out the best treatment plans and ways to get rid of it completely.
I know, like
it's actually a bacteria. It's not a vascular plant. It's in the bacteria family.
Yeah, I know, like in Florida, I remember Toho, they would draw Toho down. This was for hydrilla, but they would bring in like heavy equipment and just scrape the banks of the lake to get the grass out and then bring the water back up.
Yeah. I think they've pitched that at Gaston, but of course, we've got a lot more stakeholders involved at lakes like Gaston.
Yeah.
To be able to
there's a lot of different, everybody has a different mindset about what they want and what they're looking for.
That's right.
Yeah. So in the shocking for the bass, like the small lakes in acreage versus say like a Jordan, how do the numbers compare per acre in the small lakes as they would to say, biggest lake I guess you do is Jordan?
Yeah, it's always a little lower, I'd say.
In the small lakes?
Yeah. So slightly fewer fish in the smaller lakes. And that usually goes back to forage. There's usually in our smaller lakes, we don't get the shad that we get in the larger lakes because the temperature swings in the winter can get so cold and really kill off your shad if you get a cold, harsh winter. So I think that goes back to forage. And the bigger lakes having a stable forage base. But yeah, we've shocked several big fish in some of the little lakes for sure. I don't think we have the number of, big fish like we do at a lake like Jordan or Falls for sure.
Yeah, well, that was cool. Todd he was really enjoying our podcast. He just got up and walked out on us,
He left us.
Yeah. So, he had something more important to do. So,
yeah.
We were talking about him making his wife mad earlier. So he must've made her mad. Hey, welcome back, Todd. We appreciate you joining us for our podcast.
Yeah.
We're learning a lot.
Yeah. I apologize. My, our time's going to run out if I don't put my credit card information in.
Oh, wow. Wow. He's got to buy more minutes.
Got to buy more minutes.
I didn't realize this was a prepaid podcast.
Cricket phone, right?
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I saw this thing just popped up on my screen and said you have 4 minutes left or something like that.
Hey guys, make sure y'all tune in to the podcast. You never know when we're going to get canceled. Oh, that's funny. That's really cool. So, from what you've seen, all of our lakes in this area are really, really healthy. A lot of fish in them.
Yeah. So we're blessed with people, and with people comes wastewater, and with wastewater comes nutrients. So, any lake near people is got some nutrients, and that helps the fish. But we also run into algal problems in summers like this. I think we just had some issues up at Reedsville where they had some algae issues and things like that. So we're getting some of those issues in some of these summers. But yeah, it definitely helps when you get all the nutrients flowing down.
I saw something at Jordan last week where some dogs had died being down in the water.
Yeah, and that could have something to do with, nutrient input. I think Jordan is almost hyper-eutrophic. So there's different levels of nutrient inputs that we rate the lakes with. And eutrophic supposedly the highest level, but I think they're going to think about upgrading it to like a hyper eutrophic reservoir.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know this has probably been 10, 15 years ago, but there was some kind of solar powered thing that was supposed to turn the water up, but they had put a bunch of those in Jordan and they were just out there kind of buoyed down or whatever. But I don't see them anymore. So I guess that didn't work out.
No, that project I think ended up being too costly and maintenance costs involved for that. I'm not sure where they landed on mitigating that issue. So.
Yeah, I know some of these smaller lakes, I guess it's really helped them out with the oxygen in the summertime is putting in these oxygenator things.
Yeah. And that can help a lot, but I'd hate to know what it would cost for a lake the size of Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
It all comes down to the dollar at the end of the day. And I'm not sure if they could afford to aerate that amount of water.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's a big undertaking.
Yeah.
If they're going to start doing it, let me know because we want to go into the aeration business. We want to start a little aeration company before they do it.
Dry summers, like kind of what we're getting into now, can be a hurt. I think Jordan in 2010 or 11 went through some summer issues and had some fish die. So hopefully we get some more rain and keep these lakes flowing and moving. When the water gets hot and stagnant, that's when we can run into some problems. But
I know this is
I haven't hit that in my career yet.
I know in August in the past is when we've ran into stripers having a big fish kill at Baden with the stripers because I guess they try to go down so deep and they run out of oxygen.
That's right. Yeah, they get squeezed in that little bit of water column that they can, where it's cool enough for them to tolerate the temperature, but warm enough to have the oxygen they need, and it just squeezes them in one little section.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting. So what, be it from a fisherman's perspective,